They dug tunnels, built tree houses and climbed towers to turn a field near Chester into a fortress. But today, anti-fracking protesters were forced to leave.
In fact, some of them were carried by police officers from a site where an energy company has permission to carry out exploratory drilling. Our reporter Claire Fallon has spent the day there. She's there for us this evening, and from the way they were dug in, Claire, I imagine the authorities are glad that they've got this over with so quickly.
You would think so, yeah, and all of the protesters have now been removed from the site this evening, which, if I can show you, is just a few hundred metres down this road behind me. Although the protesters have now gone from the site itself, we do still have some here at the police cordon with their placards, "Frack free everywhere, stop fracking." Some people have been beeping as they've been passed, but at that site just down the road, as you say, the company IGas does have permission to test drill, but so far its attempts have been frustrated by a campsite of anti-fracking protesters. Today, though, that changed as the campsite was cleared. For almost 2 years, they've refused to leave. Today, they have no choice.
Come over to the side, guys. They need to come through. They need to come through.
But the anti-fracking protesters weren't giving in easily. How are you guys attached, John?
We've got chains. At the minute, their JCBs got stuck over there in the mud. So we've got no way to get up to it. When they do get close, we'll be chaining each other through metal lock-ons, and we're going to stay up there and keep this field as long as possible.
With permission for test drilling at this site, so that can happen, a judge ruled at the end of last year that protesters must leave. Since then, they've been turning the site into what they called a dangerous game of mousetrap, even digging underground tunnels to hide in, all designed to make the eviction as difficult as possible. In the last half an hour or so, the attempts to try and remove the protesters from the site seem to have been stepped up a gear. We're not being allowed to go past this point, but just in beyond these men in black, you can hear the chainsaw. There's a woman who's put her hand into concrete, so she's concreted in place, and they're trying to chainsaw her out. And if I point you up in that direction, up there to that treehouse, you can see guys in hard hats who are currently cutting down all of the rope that the protesters have put up there so as they can remove that structure as well.
There's difficult conditions there. There's some protesters locked themselves onto various structures. There's some protesters in pits and tunnels. And we are not going to rush. We will do this properly. We'll do it safely. I'm
sure some people will see the pictures from the site at the moment and see the number of police officers, and it's certainly a huge number of police officers down there. Is this a proportionate response?
It is a proportionate response, and again I'll come back to the point in terms of time, numbers of officers. We will deploy the right number of people to make this a safe exercise.
The owners of this site, IGas, say they respect the right to protest, but that those who've been camped out were trespassing.
Your children will have to drink this water too!
But even as protesters were being removed, more were arriving to make their views on fracking clear outside the site. They say whatever the authorities do, they will not be silenced. So after some pretty dramatic scenes today, the campsite has now been cleared. I'm told by Cheshire Police that 10 arrests were made during the course of the day, but I think you can probably tell by the fact that we still have some protesters here at the police cordon this evening. This will not be the end of the argument about fracking.
Claire, indeed not. Thank you very much indeed. Claire Fallon.